Let's now learn about the quotient rule and walk through some examples. The quotient rule is just a way to find the derivative of a function that is the quotient of two functions. That means we're just going to be finding the derivative of two functions that are divided by each other. Let's now look at our formula. The derivative with respect to x of a function f of x divided by a function g of x is equal to the bottom function g of x times the derivative of the top function minus the top function times the derivative of the bottom function, all divided by the bottom function squared. There's a really nice way to remember this. If we take the derivative of a function u divided by a function v, and we think of the function u as the high function and the function v as the low function, we can write the derivative as low d high minus high d low, all divided by the square of what's below. That mnemonic is right here, and it really might help you remember this quotient rule. Let's now look at our first example. In this example, we are going to use the quotient rule to calculate the derivative. In part A, our function f of x is x squared plus 1. That is the top function. And it's divided by x cubed minus 1, which is the bottom function. Our derivative, f prime of x, is the bottom function, x cubed minus 1, times the derivative of the top function, x squared plus 1. So that's just low d high. And then we have to subtract the top function, x squared plus 1, times the derivative of the bottom function, x cubed minus 1. That's just high d low. And then we're going to divide all of this by the bottom function squared, or you can think of that as the square of what's below. Now we just have to do some derivatives. We have x cubed minus 1, and the derivative with respect to x of x squared plus 1 is just going to be 2x. And then we subtract x squared plus 1. And then the derivative of x cubed minus 1 is just 3x squared. And again, we have all of this divided by x cubed minus 1 quantity squared. Now let's look at our numerator and let's multiply everything out because some terms are going to combine. X cubed times 2x gives us 2x to the fourth, and then we have a minus 2x. Then we have x squared times 3x squared. That gives us a minus 3x to the fourth. And then the last term is going to be 1 times 3x squared, and that gives us a minus 3x squared. Make sure that you remember that this minus term is going to carry over to both terms. And then all of this is divided by x cubed minus 1 squared. Now let's see what terms combine. We can combine 2x to the fourth with minus 3x to the fourth, and that gives us a minus x to the fourth, and then we have a minus 3x squared, and then minus 2x, and all of that is divided by x cubed minus 1 quantity squared. Notice that in the numerator, I wrote the terms in descending order. You just put the highest power first, and then the next highest power until you have all the terms written. It just makes your answer look a lot nicer if you do that. And here is our final answer. Let's now look at part B. In this example, we are taking the derivative of f of x is equal to the square root of x, that's our top function, divided by 2 plus x, that's our bottom function. We're going to use the quotient rule, And it tells us that f prime of x is the bottom term, 2 plus x, times the derivative with respect to x of our top term. And I'm going to write the square root of x as x to the 1/2 because it's going to make it easier to take the derivative if we write it that way. And then we subtract off the top term, x to the 1/2, times the derivative of the bottom term, which is 2 plus x, all divided by the bottom term squared. Now let's go ahead and let's take some derivatives. We have 2 plus x. The derivative of x to the 1/2 is 1/2 x to the minus 1/2. And then we subtract off x to the 1/2. And the derivative of 2 plus x is actually just 1. And then all of this is still divided by 2 plus x quantity squared. Now let's go ahead and let's look at this top piece right here, and let's multiply that out. We have 2 times 1/2 is 1, so our first term is just x to the minus 1/2, and then we have a plus 1/2, x times x to the minus 1/2. Remember that x just has a power of 1, so it's 1 minus 1/2, which gives us an x to the 1/2, and then minus x to the 1/2, all divided by 2 plus x quantity squared. Now let's see what we have. It looks like we can combine this term and this term. So we have x to the minus 1/2 minus 1/2 x to the 1/2, all divided by 2 plus x quantity squared. When you use the quotient rule, most of your time is going to be spent on algebra simplification. I think it's going to be easiest to simplify our numerator if we rewrite it in terms of square root of x. Let's write this as 1 divided by root x minus root x, all divided by 2, all divided by 2 plus x quantity squared. I think the easiest way to simplify this is if we multiply the top and the bottom by 2 root x. That is just going to clear out our fractions that we have in our numerator. Our first term is going to be 2 root x divided by root x, and that is going to be 2. And then we have 2 root x times root x divided by 2. The square roots are going to combine, and we're going to get an x, so we have a minus x. And then the 2's cancel, which is really nice. And in our denominator, I'm going to pull the 2 root x out in front, and then multiply this by 2 plus x quantity squared. And there is our derivative. Let's now look at our second example. It's actually not as hard as the one that we just did. In this example, we are given that h of x is g of x divided by x, g of 2 is equal to 4, and then g prime of 2 is negative 4, and we're asked to find h prime at 2. We are given that h of x is g of x all divided by x. G of x is our top function, and then x is our bottom function. H prime of x is going to be x, the bottom function, times the derivative of the top, minus the top, which is g of x, times the derivative of the bottom, which is the derivative of x, which is just 1. And we're going to divide all of that by our bottom function squared. Now what we're going to do is we're going to substitute in that x is equal to 2. So we have h prime at 2 is 2 times g prime at 2 minus g of 2. And we're going to divide this by 2 squared. Now we're going to substitute in what g prime of 2 is and what g of 2 is. We have 2 times g prime. Let's pull this down so you can see it. G prime at 2 is minus 4, minus g of 2, which is 4. And we're going to divide all of that by 2 squared, which is 4. So we have a lot of 4's here. Let's see. 2 times minus 4 is minus 8. We subtract 4, divide that by 4. This is then minus 12 divided by 4, and we end up with an answer of minus 3.
If this video has been helpful to you, please consider subscribing to my channel. Keep believing in yourself and have a great rest of your day.